You have heard this thing, right? That religious people sometimes say to atheists, where they say atheism is also a religion. There are some responses to it, and there are some responses to it that are not commonly used because they have to do in general with being careful when using language. Language cannot be used haphazardly because it affects the usefulness of language. And therefore, this episode is about answering the question, is atheism just another religion? First of all, think about this. Have you ever seen an atheist say to a religious person, well, religion is just like atheism? No, right? Because it's not. That's one reason. And secondly, the reason religious people say that atheism is just another religion is actually because they know what the problems with religion are. They don't want to say that I'm better than you. They want to say you are as bad as I am. They want to say that the thing that you think makes you different from me is actually not different because you're just like me. So, whatever criticism you are giving me, which I cannot deny, applies to you as well. So, your lack of religion, which you are so proud of, is actually just like religion. So, the most common answer to this, obviously, is that atheism is a religion, just as not collecting stamps is a hobby, or not cycling is a hobby, or not cooking is a way to eat food. If someone says, one of my hobbies is gardening, what's your hobby? And you say, my hobby is not gardening. They will laugh at you, and rightly so, because it's a stupid answer. So, in much the same way, saying that atheism is just a religion is stupid because it's the opposite of religion. And also, this thing is not actually used about just atheism. People will, when you tell them that how can atheism be a religion, they will try to redefine the word religion itself. They will try to say that anything that is something like a way of life or a organizing principle for someone's life can be a religion. Like, for example, if someone is really into football, football is a religion to them. They keep up with football, they watch football, they know all the player names, they follow all the matches and tournaments. They have posters of football players on their walls. They get offended when you say something bad about football. There might be people for whom cooking is a religion. There might be people for whom a certain anime is like a religion. Something someone is obsessed with and it takes up a lot of their life is defined as religion by people who want to apply the word religion to everything, including religion, including atheism. So, the problem with that is that think about why we have words. Why do we use words to describe things? We use words to describe things so that we may know the difference between things. This thing is called this, and that thing is called that. When you're talking to people, when you're showing them two things, you use two different words to describe them. The reason is that you don't want to confuse them. You want them to clearly understand what you're saying. You want them to understand that this thing is not that thing. Who will want to use the same word for different things? The answer is someone who wants you to be confused, or at least someone who sees no use in being clear. Sometimes, when religious / spiritual people are having a conversation about these things, they will avoid being clear. And the reason they want to avoid being clear is because there is no way to be clear about these things. Take the word spirituality for example. What is its definition? Nobody knows. Nobody has a definition. You talk to two spiritual people and they will give you two different definitions, neither of which make any sense at all. It's a vague label that people apply to anything that makes them happy. One person might say reading books is a spiritual experience to me. One person might say, having sex is a spiritual experience for me. One person might say watching cricket is a spiritual experience for me. Someone else might say playing video games is a spiritual experience for me. And of course, there is the traditional things, which is going to the temple is a spiritual experience to me. Listening to a certain devotional song is a spiritual experience to me. Spirituality basically just means anything that makes people happy, it seems. Again, I'm not claiming to know the meaning of the word spiritual. I'm not that smart. I don't think anyone knows the meaning of the word spiritual because it's a word that is used so vaguely and so carelessly all over the place that nobody has a definition. I mean, there is no clear objective definition of the word spiritual. So, what happens when you talk to people about spirituality? They're vague. They don't have a clear answer. They can't give you a clear answer. So, what they do is that they use words you already know in order to make things even more complicated. Sometimes they do it unconsciously, sometimes they do it consciously in order to avoid talking about something. Like you are, I'm sure you have heard of, you have heard from theists who say that to me, the universe itself is God. Now, the word God has a definition and the word universe has a definition. When they conflate the two, what are they trying to do? What they're trying to do is they want to ask you, so you don't think the universe exists? And you clearly think that the universe exists, right? And they will say, aha, therefore you believe in God. It's like, it's like, it's like asking you if you have a motorcycle and you say, no, I have a bicycle, but to me, the bicycle is a motorcycle. So the point about atheism being just a religion has to do more with carelessness with words and definitions. And I, for one, think that definitions are important. Clear definitions are important because without clear definitions, you can't have a conversation. Suppose you and I are having a conversation about something that is in my hands. I tell you what is in my hand is round, and you say, okay, what is in my hand is also round. And I say, what is in my hand is red, and you say, yeah, the thing I'm holding is also red. And then you say, if I eat it, it tastes sweet. And they say, yeah, the thing that I'm holding is also sweet. You might come to the conclusion that you're both talking about the same thing, but I'm holding an apple and you're holding a gulab jamun. They're both round-ish, red-ish, and sweet-ish. Clear definitions are important because without them, we will not know what we are talking about. And if you are someone who is careful or who cares about being clear, about understanding things well, then you should insist on clear definitions. The word religion has a definition. The word atheism has a definition. There is no need to conflate the two unless you are deliberately trying to confuse people.